Welcome back to the next video. In today's video I will show you how to create an Android plugin for your Godot Game Engine to upload files to Google Drive. Now unfortunately I can't show you the full output, so there are two buttons I have created, one for uploading a file, like I'm uploading a txt file, and one for reading contents of that txt file, but you can upload any file you want. So once you click on the upload, if you're uploading for the very first time, it will ask you to sign in via Google sign in, and once the user has signed in successfully, it uploads the file. And if you want to read the file, again you can just click on the read button. So if I click on upload, here you can see you don't have to sign in again because I was already signed in, and it just displays success message that okay, the file was uploaded. And if I try to read contents of the file, again it tries to sign in, but I was already signed in, so I don't have to sign it again. It knows that I have signed in, and it just displays me the content of that file. So I can't show you that file been uploaded because I have some personal contents on Google Drive as well, but you can take my word for it. Otherwise you can try running this code by yourself. So first, there is some setup work which you have to do for uploading it to Google Drive. So first, what you will have to do, you will have to go to Google Developer Console and create one project. Once you create that project, you will have to go to APIs or library section, and you will have to enable Google Drive API. Once you do that, you will have to select the OAuth consent screen and select external from that screen and click create. After that, you will just have to give your app name, support email, or fill out all the stuff, whichever the stuff is mandatory in that particular form. Once you do that, you will have to click on create credential. You will have to first create an API key. Once you create API key, again click on create credential, and you will have to create OAuth client ID as well. And in OAuth client ID, again you will have to enter the package name. You will also have to enter your SHA-1 certificate. Again, be careful. Like to generate a SHA-1 certificate, here it has given that particular tool for you, but SHA-1 certificate differs for debug APK as well as prod APK. So if you are deploying it to production, make sure you update that fingerprint as well. Next, again this is another tool for generating that SHA-1. If you are curious, you can use that as well. Next, also make sure you go to credential and make sure you have generated this API key as well as OAuth client ID as well. And one more thing which you have to do is inside OAuth consent screen, go to that OAuth consent screen. Given that I am doing this testing on a debug APK, you will have to click on test users, click on plus add users as well, and here you will have to add the email ID for which you will be going to use for your testing. So yeah, this is again for testing purposes. For production you don't have to add this, obviously. So let's see, once this setup is done, let's see how to create a plugin. So first, open Android Studio, create an Android project. It can be an empty views project or a Jetpack Compose project, doesn't really matter. Once you create that project, you just have to right click, new, module, go to library, and here you will have to name your library as my library or something. Give some package name, whatever makes sense to you. Click finish. I have already created it, so won't create it again. Once the library is created, you will have to go to build.gradle.kts of your library. First, you will have to add this Godot dependency. So at the time of recording, I am using Godot 4.2.1, but if you are using some other version or higher version, make sure you use that. Next, there are a bunch of dependency which we have to add for Google Drive. So first one is Google HTTP client, all this. Then there is this Google API client Android. Then we have to add Google APIs, Google API services drive v3. Again, like I have just copy pasted this from Stack Overflow. Okay, also you need this GAWA dependency as well, because there is some conflict if you don't add this, and we require this dependency of Google Play Services Auth for Google sign in. Once you add all this dependency, also inside build.gradle.kts you have to add this bit of code. And yeah, so just add this bit of code and just click on sync now. There is also this bit of code which I will come back to later on. So yeah, just click on sync now. Once you do that, just create a file called my Godot Android plugin. So I'll see inside my library Kotlin plus Java. First create a file called Google Drive folder. So here you can define what all things you want to get from that particular file. So Google Drive file folder, so I want ID, name, modified time, size, created time and start. So this is typical stuff. Okay, so this data class is kind of like a Pojo class in Java. Next, here I have created our Godot Android plugin, which extends Godot plugin as well as lifecycle owner. Then this is boilerplate code for lifecycle because I want to make use of coroutines. Then I have defined some fields for next page token files, which has ID as well as name. Then the access drive scope is scopes of drive 5, and the scope email is scopes of email. Then here I am just checking whether the user has called, whether he's trying to read a file or uploading file. So just a boolean variable. Then this is a Google sign in content, and here I have created a variable for receive text, like what text you are trying to upload to your file. Okay, so here I have registered one signal, and this is my plugin name. Again, you can name it whatever you want, but be careful, you will need to reference this plugin name in multiple places. Then I have called this upload method as well, and here I am calling run on UI thread. So here I have set the receive text equal to data. Okay, so whatever you send it from the Godot side, and is file read is false because we are uploading a file. And here this is how you do Google sign in. Okay, so I'm requesting the email and it is a default sign in. Then I'm initializing our Google sign in using the Google sign in dot get client, and then I'm calling the sign in client, and then here I'm calling activity dot start activity for result, and I am passing the request code as well. Next, for reading the file, I'm changing the variable to true. Again, I'm trying to do the same thing, like I am trying to sign in, and again I'm calling activity start activity for result with the same request code. Now once you call the start activity for result, the callback comes over here. So if you see, the request code is equal to 12, and here you will see, so I get all the account details. So here you can see the task contains the Google sign in account task, and here I'm just calling task.get result, which can throw an API exception as well. Then I'm checking for Google permission as well. I'll come back to this code in a later while. So once check for, here we are because once you sign in, the user who is using the app also have to explicitly give permission on what all things the app can do in Google Drive. So once we get, so here that's what I'm requesting the permission for. Once I request the if the user does not has the permission, then I'm requesting the permission. If not, then I'm calling driver setup directly. So here you can see I'm calling request permission. So once you request the permission, again the callback comes over here, and if the request permission is granted, then I'm calling drive setup as well. So same thing like this. Now if you go to drive setup, here we are getting the last signed account. Okay, then we are calling this credential, so Google account credential dot use OAuth 2, and we then assign the credential dot selected account to our account details. Then we create a Google Drive service. So I'm just creating Android http.new compatible transport. This is our JSON factory, and passing our credential as well, and setting our application name. So here you can change your application name to whatever makes sense to you. I have defined a constants inside a companion object. I will show you that as well. So here I'm checking if the file is read. If it is a read file, then I'm first listing the drive files. So I'll come back to this code as well, and here we are getting all the file list. So this is the file which I'm reading from, and if the file is not equal to empty, then I'm getting list of all the files if there are multiple files with same name. And here I'm just looping over the file, creating a file job, awaiting for that particular file, then downloading that file, not really downloading it to the user's device, but internally. Then because you can't directly read that file, then we are saving it to internal storage and reading data from that particular file. Once I get the data, I'm sending the data back to the Godot side. Okay, and in case of error, I'm just throwing error as it is. Now this is the code for uploading data to a file. So here we are creating a folder of Google Drive space, and actually we are not creating a folder inside our Google Drive. We are directly writing that file in the root Google Drive folder itself. then we are awaiting for it. Then we are creating a file job for that, create file in internal storage. Again, I will show you all these methods in a bit. And here we are just creating create file job dot await, and if the file is not equal to null, then we are just calling upload file job, and we are calling the upload file method. And here we are just uploading, waiting for that particular upload, and if the upload is successful, I am emitting a success signal, and if fails, I am just displaying a toast message. So this is the code for creating a folder. Again, to be honest with you, like I have just copied it from multiple sources like Stack Overflow, so again I won't be able to explain it much to you, but I don't think that code is that much complicated. Like you can at least make a little bit of sense of it. So you can pause the video and copy paste this code if you want to. And here I have defined all the constants. So here you can see this is your file name. Okay, again you can define whatever file name makes sense to you. So these are the constants. This is the create folder logic, okay, which I have shown you also. So this is the logic for listing all the drive files, okay, and this is the logic for downloading the file. This is for creating the file in internal storage once it has been downloaded, and this is the logic for uploading the file. And this is for reading the data from the file. Okay, and here we are creating a temporary file in internal storage. This I have already shown you, this also shown to you, this I have shown you, this I have shown you, and this also I have shown. So yeah, that's it for the Godot Android plugin, like the code wise. Next you will have to go to manifest, android manifest.xml. Here you will have to add internet permission, and I have copied this from the Godot documentation. Only thing which you will have to change is your plugin name over here. So this should be your plugin name over here as well, and this should be your package name. So in case if you forgot your package name, you can just go over here and this is your package name. So copy paste that as well. Once that is done, just go to your project drop down, go to your library and create a folder called export scripts template. Inside that, create a file called export_plugin.gd. Again, I have literally copy pasted all this file all this code from the documentation itself. The only thing which you have to worry about, this should be your plugin name, and there is extra bit of code which is at least at the time of recording missing from the documentation, because we are adding lot of dependency inside our build.gradle file. You also have to write this bit of code. First we require coroutine support, then we also require this lifecycle runtime. Even though these two are not added in build.gradle, we need this because the Android build folder of Godot does not contain this dependency directly, and these all dependencies I have already shown you inside our build.gradle file. So I've just copy pasted this from the documentation itself, from the build.gradle file itself. Okay, so this, so you can pause the video and copy paste it if you want to. Next you will have to create another file called plugin.cfg. again, I have copy pasted everything from the docs. Only thing changes this plugin name and description author. You can change whatever you feel like. Once you do this, you will have to run you will have to open your terminal, cd to your Android project, and I will show you what command you will have to run. So just run this command. Okay, cd to your Android project, not to your Android library. So just run this command. Once you run this command, you will have to go to your Android project, go to my library, build, outputs, AAR, and here you should see 2 AAR files being generated. I have already copied those files to my Godot project, that's why you are not seeing it over here. Next, just create your Godot project, click project, install Android build template. I have already done that. Then click export, click add Android over here, then check this use Gradle build. At the bottom you might be seeing a fix import error, just click on that, and here you can select whatever architecture your Android device is running on. If you don't know, select all 4 of those. Next, create a folder called add-ons. Inside that, create a folder with your plugin name. Inside that, create a folder called bin, and inside bin create 2 folder, debug and release. Now you will have to copy the debug AR file to the debug folder, release AR file to the release folder, but you will have to change the name as well. So I'll show you that. I'll go to plugin bin debug. So inside debug you will have to name it as your plugin name dash debug.aar, and for release it should be your plugin name dash release.aar. Then you also, if you remember, we had created these two files, export plugin.gd, plugin.cfg. Also copy these two files to your plugin folder as well. Once you do that, go to project settings, go to plugins, and you have to make sure you check this checkbox. Once that is done, if you see inside my UI, I have just taken a VBox container with 2 buttons and a label. And if you see over here, I have just created my plugin. So again, this should be your plugin name, and inside onReady I am just initializing our plugin as well as connecting our signal. So once the signal is fired, this method gets called, and here I am just updating our label, and on first button press I am calling upload with this is the text which I am passing, and on second button press I am just reading the content from it. Also, one more thing which I want to tell you is, you will also need to open, so if you go to your Godot project, go to Android, build, and open this build.gradle file, and here I think by default these two are present. I have also added this this stuff, like I'm not sure if this is mandatory or not, but for native Android I had to do this over here. Okay, but if you try to write this code over here and then click on build sync, then do a Gradle assemble, try to copy the plugin, then there is this merger fail issue which I got. That's why I commented this thing out, and I wrote all this code over here itself. I think by default these two are present, but you will have to add this for again, I'm not really sure if this is mandatory or not, but just to be on the safer side, I did this as well. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.